My lords, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to Transport Fever 2 as we continue the O Canada Let's Play series set in and around British Columbia and Alberta, focused primarily on the Rocky Mountains. Now in the past couple of episodes we have been working on the Rocky Mountain Railway with the passenger line starting in Cochrane that now extends as far as Lake Louise up here. But now I think what we're going to do is do a bit more freight work rather than extend the passenger line any further. And what I want to do today is a quick and simple one. Is we have a quarry, I've lost my bearings, there we go. We have a quarry up here which is obviously mining stone out of the ground, and I want to get this stone brought into the industrial park here at Calgary because we do have this brickwork here which we can do with activating, because then we can start shipping bricks into Calgary, southwest Calgary and southeast Calgary as well to help with some further city growth. Now obviously we already have this station set up ready to go which could handle the stone arrival. It's just a question of how do we get it from Bottrel down into the Calgary Industrial Park. Now we do have this freight line already that runs up towards Cochrane and beyond, so connecting a line from here into this line would probably make the most sense and would likely be the most logical and simplest solution as well. So how do we want to achieve it now? Given the location, I mean we could run it this way like this, but I think it's going to make more sense to bring it in after this freight yard here, because then the trains passing to and from Bottrel Quarry are not going to interfere with unloading and loading at this freight yard, which is obviously quite important and a serious consideration you have to bear in mind. So I'm thinking the best place to connect it would be here. That way there's no interruption to the freight manoeuvres going on here, and they can carry on straight down towards Calgary on this existing line and drop off the stone. So let's have a look, shall we? Let's get our track tool, and just before this junction here, if we branch off, keep it level, which should encourage a junction without any overlap, indeed so. Perhaps just have a higher speed than that. Can we go for 70? I think 70 would be more than suitable. And are we heading the right direction? Yes, to an extent. Now we want to be mindful here as well, we do have our Calgary main line which we would like to avoid if possible. I say Calgary main line, I do of course mean our Rocky Mountain rail line, as we see our Peter Ray train just heading on past now towards Cochrane. Okay, so we don't want to be interfering with that if we can avoid it. So could we tunnel underneath? Let's see. If we start lowering the track, not too aggressively but just enough that it should encourage a tunnel like so, and then at this point if we keep it okay, so that's obviously not quite low enough. Let's have a look now. If we drop it a short section there, going a little bit lower. Okay, now so let's just take it back just a touch and drop him down even further than before, just so we have the clearance for a tunnel underneath our Rocky Mountain passenger line. Come on, you're almost there, aren't you? You're nearly there. Let's see here. It's not far off. Okay, I'm trying to avoid having him drop down too drastically because I am naturally concerned about the slowdown on the gradient. Let's see what we can do. So you don't want to be going upwards, that's for sure. Okay, that's probably too aggressive. We'll try for that. And then hopefully now we should be able to squeeze a tunnel below. Yes, indeed we can. And in fact, can we start to level off here? Yes, we can. In fact, we'll start emerging just opposite our Rocky Mountain line, which is perfectly ideal. And then we can start to raise back up to the natural height level. And if we just stretch this out as far as we reasonably can, it should give us a nice gradual climb rather than a sudden sharp incline. Okay, so we have a connection, and we've kept him clear of the Rocky Mountain passenger line, which is obviously very important. Now we want to look at where we're going to put our freight yard over at Bottrel Quarry. So we're going to want a cargo station. Now we also have this oil well nearby as well. Plus we're also going to want to have tools and bricks delivered here at some point. So I'm thinking if we just have a central 4-track or 4-platform terminus station here, that can handle the drop off of the goods and the collection of these 2 raw materials here as well. Now where do we want to set it? Obviously the terrain isn't the best here, it's not very even. Perhaps somewhere like that. Yes, I think we'll go with that. Now whether this is going to give us a connection to these industries or not remains to be seen. We don't want tram tracks out here, it's not needed. Let's see, shall we? Just give me a moment while I get a nice smooth connection here. There we go. And let's see if indeed we do have an industry connection here. Yes, we have a connection to the quarry, which is excellent, so we're not going to need any road vehicle shenanigans at this point. I'm going to assume that's the same. Yes, indeed it is, for the oil well as well. So our raw materials can reach the station, which is excellent. Now obviously we can't reach the city for the drop off, but that's something to worry about later on. So we'll call this Bottrel Freight Yard, and then we can get these 4 tracks connected into a single outgoing line. Now we all want to keep straight here because we're going to have some junction work. Let's just extend him out. Okay, perhaps you don't need to keep straight anymore, let's be fair. Let's see here. Okay, that's quite precipitous, isn't it? Where's our track? Okay, so it's heading this way, so if we bring him this way, how does that look in terms of the gradient? Again, it looks a bit... How about that? And we'll just blend out the sheer edge on this side with some terrain modification. I think we'll go for that. And then we're going to want to get all the other tracks connected in as well. Can I get a connection there? It's not finding it, is it? Let's try it from this direction. Okay, what's the issue here? 2 trains are facing off against each other. Oh, I see. So, yes. So what we're going to have to do here, in fact what we want to do is get rid of these 2 signals, I believe, reverse this train, and then hopefully that problem should have been alleviated. And in fact what we probably want to do is this food line here to Irricana, if we have him come on this track here which is currently sat idle, we may as well have him separate from the from the grain line a little. Obviously that doesn't have any bearing on what just happened there, but it just makes it a bit tidier overall, so while we're in the area we may as well. Let's just speed up the game progression here so we can get this rolling a bit smoother than it was. Okay, so you should be waiting there. Yes, you're waiting for clearance as well. Let's see here, is this solved? No. Right. If we switch his direction as he crosses this switch here, that should sort it all out. Let's check. Because you don't want to send him all the way back to Irricana with a full load of grain, obviously. Okay, now we should be good. There we go. Now, where were we? Yes, up at Bottrel. So yes, let's get these connected in as best we can. Let's have a look at the overlap just there. It's not the best, is it? But we can just arch the rail line a little to bring it more in line. That looks a little better. Yes, and then we'll have another reaching out to the 4th platform. Absolutely marvellous. And there we go, that's a nice simple freight junction there to get in and out of the station. And this gradient, or this earthworks now, no longer looks as severe as it did. So now we can just get it connected into the awaiting line that we set up a few moments ago, which is over this direction to the left. So let's curve our lines this sort of way. Okay, that's causing a weird shimmy over that road there, which is ideally something we would want to avoid. Well, we can just tunnel underneath to alleviate that problem and then start to raise upwards naturally to meet the awaiting track. Let's see here, what sort of... That doesn't look too bad, and we're heading the sort of right direction. Yes, perfect. Now we will go ahead and double track this section straight away. It's not necessary at this point, but we have the money and we're making enough profit to afford the upkeep on a dual section of track here, so there's no harm in doing it, let's be honest. Like so. And then we'll just connect it in here. 65 miles an hour will be more than enough, and let's get some signals put down, shall we? So we'll want a signal there. Now, as I said, I prefer to avoid putting the semaphore signals in the tunnels, so we'll not do that. And then we'll put a few blocks in. We don't need that many to start with. We're only going to have a handful of trains what are bringing down the stone. But we'll do a little bit of future proofing and put a few blocks in straight away. We are going to need a slip switch. No, we're not. We're going to need a diamond switch. I tell a lie. Hopefully we can get a nice one here. Indeed we can. And then that should be us good to go. Can't foresee any problems so far. Yes, that should work quite nicely. We don't have any spare platforms over here, however, but what I'm going to do is just have the stone dropped off onto another input platform, such as the wheat drop off or even the planks, because it's coming down the planks line, so that would make most sense, I think. So let's get the line set up. So we're going from Bottrel Freight Yard down to Calgary Industrial Park, and you are shipping stone. Let's just quickly adjust these. I tend to go for 30 seconds and 60 seconds. 30 seconds gives you enough time to get a full load, and 60 seconds means if there's not a full load, you're not waiting around for an eternity. Here, we'll do the same, although you're not picking anything up, so you should depart pretty quickly, but we want to make sure you have enough time. In fact, we'll leave it. Yes, we'll leave that as is. Okay, so you want to be a stone colour like so. And this is stone freight. And this is Bottrel to Calgary. There we go. What platform did you assign yourself onto? Is it the same one as our planks? Let's see. Yes, it is, which is perfect. I don't foresee any issues in terms of trains facing off against one another, but time will tell. So let's go ahead and get some trains purchased now for this. Where's our nearest ideal depot? I'm going to say this one here. Yes. So let's go ahead and get a couple of trains. What do we want to use? Shall we use... I'm going to go for the 260 Mogul for this line. And we want cargo wagons, and they are going to be gondolas. And we'll go for 56 capacity. Yes, and we'll go for 2 to start with. And off they go. So we'll see what sort of financial impact this new line has for us. Hopefully it will be profitable. while we wait for that to bed in and settle down, let's go ahead and see how our existing lines are doing in terms of finances. Let's just pull this away and expand it, shall we? Okay, so our iron ore freight is now making 6 million a year. The steel freight is making 4. Login and wheat about 1 million a piece, which is excellent. Our intercity main line from Calgary over to, I forgot the name of the town. It's been a couple of days since I played. I was on holiday. Nanton, there we go. Is full, and as we can see, we have a lot of passengers waiting at each station. So I don't think the 2 trains are cutting it anymore. So let's go ahead and duplicate those, and we'll have 4 trains running this line and see what that does for us. What else? Oh yes. So our other lines are looking pretty good. The wheat freight from Cochrane Farms is currently losing 500,000 a year. Why is that? Well, you have plenty available. If we just go to what we can see, so we can focus on this line. So you're doing 200 a year, and your farm output is 800. So in theory, we could add a lot more trains on. I think it might just be the slowdown as they're coming in and out of here that's causing the issues. More than likely that's the case, because they are sharing the platform with the Irricana wheat trains. However, they are quite few and far between, so that shouldn't really be having such a detrimental impact. But overall, everything's looking very profitable, so there's no major concerns, let's be honest. Obviously, we do need to see what sort of impact this is going to have. I think it should be okay. At the minute, obviously, it's running into negative, but we haven't made our first deliveries yet. We do have our first stone waiting to be picked up as our trains make their way over. In terms of our towns, so far so good. Getting decent supply on the bread to both Northeast and to Calgary. Around about half each, which is fine. That could be improved. Let's see how we're doing here. I think our issue is the amount of grain. We're having a bit of a supply, not a supply issue, but our timings aren't quite right, and our food processing plant does find itself out of supply. Okay, so now you're waiting around. I guess this might be an artifact of the minimum wait time. Let's have a look. What have we set you to? Okay, so you're set to 0 seconds. So you should depart straight away as soon as you're unloaded. Perhaps if we set your maximum stop time to 10 seconds, that should hopefully be enough to actually unload a full load of wheat. We can check that because we do have a train waiting, so let's just accelerate the time. Let him get clear. And when our train here pulls up alongside, we shall see if 10 seconds is enough time to dump out the full load of wheat. Hopefully it will be. Let's see, shall we? Here she comes now. Yep, that was enough time. She's emptied her wagons and leaving the station without sitting there for any more time than she really needs to, and that should help the flow through here a little as well, which is excellent. So we'll keep half an eye on this wheat line just to make sure we don't have too much backlog here waiting to come in, because obviously these are sharing this line here with our steel trains which head in from the Rocky Mountains, and we don't want to hold them up if possible. Let's see what happens with our train from Irricana. How long does she wait? No, she heads off straight away again, which is excellent. How are we doing for supply up here? Well, we've got a full platform, so no issues there. How are we doing for pickup on these lines? We have a surplus, but they are making progress. And how's our supply into Airdrie itself? That could be better, let's be honest. In terms of the tools, I tend to aim for 50+%. Obviously the higher the better, but anything below 50 and it's not really cutting it. So as we can see here, we're quite a ways off, so we could probably go ahead and have some more trucks assigned to the food delivery line. We have 8, let's go for 12. And we'll see what impact they're going to have on our line rates and throughputs. We can have a look at a quick estimate by just opening our line statistics here. Food delivery into Airdrie, it estimates that we have a rate of 48 per year, which is a lot better than the existing 25, so fingers crossed. Okay, well, I think that's a decent place to end this episode. It's been a fairly easy one, a short one today, just getting the quarry set up and the stone dropped in. But after a week away, I just wanted to get something out there to get the ball rolling on production, so to speak, once again. So I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, consider leaving a like or a comment, or even subscribing to the channel for future episodes as and when I produce them. But for now, all that remains for me to say is, as always, ladies and gentlemen, you take the very best of care of yourselves. Ta-ta for now.